My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? So today we're going to be talking about 7 tactics to convert visitors into paying customers. I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to actually turn off my camera so you can see my screen and the presentation more so. Let's see. I think this makes it easier. You guys can see my screen? All right, so we're gonna get started. 7 tactics to convert visitors into paying customers. Sorry for the delay. I know with daylight saving times, we had multiple calendar invites and it messed up, so we are an hour delayed. Again, truly apologize for this. I'm Neil Patel. I'm the co-founder of NP Digital. We also have tools like Uber Suggest that you can check out to help boost your traffic. I also created an analytics and conversion optimization tool many years ago called Crazy Egg. And I've worked with companies of all sizes, from the Facebooks to the Googles, the Microsofts, recognized as top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 30 by Obama. And the list goes on and on. And the point I'm trying to make by showing you all this isn't to brag. I don't think I'm the best marketer out there. I still have a lot to learn. I can improve so much. It's more so to show you that I wouldn't have worked with all these companies if the tactics that I was using didn't work. And because they worked, that's how I was able to get the referrals into so many of these companies and continue to work with bigger and bigger brands. So when I break down the tactics and my team breaks down the tactics, implement them, follow them. It'll work. It'll help you get the results that you need. So you already know a little about me. Jonathan, you want to get a quick overview of yourself?
Manage the CRO product at NP Excel. I have a background managing other teams in conversion rate optimizations, from small and medium-sized businesses all the way up to multi-billion-dollar international corporations.
Awesome. And then we have Ryan, who's the director of CRO at NP Digital. Ryan, do you want to give a quick overview on yourself as well, too?
Neil mentioned, here at Neil Patel Digital, I have about 10 years or so in the CRO business, both in-house and agency side, and looking forward to this webinar today with you guys.
Awesome. So now we want to dive into the 7 tactics for visitors into paying customers. But before we get started, you're probably wondering why you should care about conversion rate optimization. Well, the best landing pages convert at 11.45% or higher, according to WordStream. However, the average conversion rate for a landing page is only 2.35%. So that's a big difference. And only 17% of marketers use A/B testing on landing pages to improve conversion rates. You got to check it out. As you also do a lot of conversion rate optimization, you'll notice in most cases your desktop converts better than mobile. But majority of people, at least in B2C, are using mobile devices. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. Doesn't mean mobile will convert better than desktop, but a lot of people focus on desktop CRO versus mobile, but you got to focus on both. Emails, in marketing, I was learned at the very early age that your email list is like a digital ATM. You send out an email blast, you make money. It's very true, assuming you don't spam your list and you take care of it. And there's a lot of ways to just squeeze more revenue out of your visitors, especially with the rising cost of ads and marketing. So now let's dive right in.
Thanks, Neil. So let's jump right in here. Tactic number one, we're talking about adding live chat to our highest converting web pages. So, most tactics will tell you to start by optimizing the lowest converting pages as they have the biggest room for improvement. We find that that's probably the wrong approach here. So it's actually more effective, we've found, to start by targeting high converting pages first. And let's talk a little bit about why on the next slide. So when your CRO efforts focus on low performing pages, it's really like trying to climb a mountain from the bottom to the top. So when you focus on these high performing pages, your audience already finds that content valuable, they're responding to it, and they're converting on that page. So when adding something like live chat, you're really enhancing an already positive experience and making it more valuable. So live chat helps customers really get the information they want in real time to maximize conversions on pages that we've already invested resources to build. So if we jump to the next slide, we're going to go through, this is an example here of Lush Cosmetics. And Lush Cosmetics, they make ethically sourced handmade cosmetics. So they have a huge market in both the US and UK. Their UK site worked with Olark, which is a chatbot company, to add live chat to their website. So they cross-trained their customer care team to offer support, via email, phone, social, live chat. So really the investment was minimal because they did this with their in-house care team. Customers who chat, we found, with the customer care team in this instance converted 174% higher than customers who didn't chat with their team. So even more interesting was that customers who use chat have a 19% higher average spend than the customers who didn't use the chat at Lush Cosmetics. So let's take a look on the next slide on the process on how you can.
One quick note too is my buddy Yaniv, who co-founded a company called Nextiva. It's one of the biggest voiceover IP companies. What's funny with live chat is it makes almost up to 1/3 of their revenue. So a lot of people believe that, hey, someone goes online, they buy. Yes, you can get a lot of sales from that. Their sales are broken down by 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And what I mean by that is 1/3 comes from online, 1/3 comes from their phone number of people just calling in. And believe it or not, around 1/3 of their business and revenue is coming from live chat. It's just a massive channel to generate more revenue that a lot of companies don't use. But just adding live chat won't work unless people are actually manning it. If you have live chat and it takes them forever to respond, or they're barely there, it's not going to work. So you need to make sure that people are there when the live chat is turned on and they respond fast. And ideally, the more hours you can have it, the better off you are.
Great point, Neil. Great point. Let's take a look on how we get started with a live chat. So there's a few steps here. First step is really, identifying those high converting pages that we talked about that we can add live chat to. If you have goals set in Google Analytics, those can really tell you which pages are converting the best for you. These could be landing pages, they could be product pages. It really depends on what you're trying to optimize for. The next step really is to find a live chat provider. Zendesk, Intercom, Podium are some of the top providers we look to. And make sure really when you look at these tools, you might already have these within your CRM. They might already offer this feature. So do take a look at your current CRM to see if this feature is offered and you can do it right within that. So next, you're going to want to decide if you're going to keep support in-house or you're going to outsource that. So we strongly would recommend keeping it in-house if possible. We just find it's easier. There's efficiencies there. They understand your products, your brand, much more easily than trying to kind of outsource that and bringing them up to speed with training and things like that. So once you have a provider, you know who will answer questions, you really start working on that documentation. So this should be a list of resources, guides, even scripts that chat agents can use to improve their response time. So after that, you're really going to want to track your results. Do customers who use this live chat convert more? Are they spending more time on the page as Lush customers do? So you're really going to want to track that and find if this tactic is working for your business. So let's hand it off, Jonathan, if you want to jump into tactic number 2 here.
Yeah, sure. So next on the list, you want to hit pages that are getting tons of traffic but aren't converting, whether it's blog posts, landing pages, or pillar content pages. Content that's getting a lot of traffic is still doing something right. It's probably either ranking well or you have a killer ad campaign. Regardless of the traffic source, you're still not quite hitting the mark with your conversions. So what are you going to do about it? The next best thing to improving high conversion pages is to improve high traffic pages. You already have good traffic, so you'll be able to quickly see what works and what doesn't. Try putting yourself in your customer's shoes and asking, would I respond and take action to the message that's on this page? And that can give you a good place to start. One benefit of optimizing pages that get a lot of traffic is that you can test changes a lot faster. You'll be able to see quickly if something impacts conversions negatively or positively. One of the quickest and easiest ways to improve these pages is by centering the content on the page around the goal of getting conversions. More important than adding content is often removing any distractions that may draw users' attention away from the main goal. This could be lengthy case studies, animated graphics or GIFs, long videos, etc. The page should be designed in a way that leads users to the primary goal and should only include visual content that supports your message.
And one quick thing to add too, what I've done, because on the neilpatel.com website, we have some pages that are really high traffic that just don't convert well. And the intent for the user, maybe let's say educational, like they come in, they're reading a blog post on like SEO, but it doesn't mean that they're going to sign up for your services. One thing that you can do, a quick way, if you don't have time to run an A/B test or you don't have enough volume, but that site is one of the more popular pages. And when I mean enough volume, I'm talking about volume on conversions, because when you're running A/B tests, yes, even if you have a lot of traffic, you need enough conversions to figure out which one's going to be the winner. One quick thing that you can end up doing is take your high traffic pages and start linking and pointing them to your high converting pages. So you don't always have to convert people right then and there from a high traffic page. You can always link them to a high converting page and see if that can help boost your conversions. And that usually works.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point. Something that it really is important to consider is contextually where that page fits into the user journey on your website. So like Neil was mentioning, a blog post, you may not be trying to sell a user a product or getting them to schedule a consultation or something like that, but maybe you want to get them to sign up for an email list or you want to get them off of some informational content into the a more transactional funnel. Looking at how you put this into practice, first you need to find pages that are already getting a lot of traffic using a tool like Google Analytics or Ubersuggest. The landing page report in Google Analytics is a good place to start. You can take a look at the top landing pages for the last 90 days and scan the conversion rate metric for any outliers. If you don't have e-commerce or goal tracking set up, you can use bounce rate or exit rate as a proxy measurement for the performance of the pages. After you found some targets, you'll need to determine what the purpose of each page is and identify whether the top CTAs on that page are aligned with that purpose. So for example, like we talked about, it may make more sense to focus on email sign-up CTAs as opposed to something that requires more commitment on a page like a blog post where users may have lower intent. Next, make a list of what you can improve, and not just things like button color changes. Are you addressing user concerns and questions near the call to action? Is the feel and branding of the page modern? Is the page mobile responsive? Are you adequately speaking to the issues the users are visiting your page to address? Now that you have your list, make one of those changes and then test it. You can use Google Optimize or the testing platform of your choice to run tests and make sure it doesn't impact SEO. Continue to monitor the testing platform until one of the test variants reaches statistical significance or the test becomes inconclusive. And if you have lower traffic, you may need to let some of these tests run for a while. After the test, go ahead and implement the winner and test another feature. For example, you might change the layout on your first test, shorten the form fields on your second, and change the CTA on your third. An account rep for a testing platform my team used to work with once told me that only 10% of the tests run on their platform actually end up winning. So be patient when you're running these tests. And I'll hand things back over to Ryan.
Okay, folks, let's talk about tactic number 3 here, which is adding some social proof to your exit intent pop-up banner. So adding social proof to your exit pop-up it's pretty simple. Most tools can have you set this up in about 15 minutes or so. And that's because social proof helps build trust. It helps validate purchase decisions. It really helps improve the credibility for your business on the whole. So while the increases from social proof might not be as high as other strategies, I think it's one of the simplest to implement, and it's one of one I've seen great success with. So let's jump to the next slide here. And are your customers more likely to trust you, or were they more likely to trust someone else like them? It's a pretty simple answer. They're more likely to trust someone else like them. So in the same situation over a company trying to sell them something, they're always going to choose, more often than not, they're going to choose someone else like them. So when you're adding this social proof to exit intent pop-ups, you're really giving customers, more reasons to give your brand a shot. And when we jump to the next slide, including social proof in your exit intent pop-ups, we've seen can improve conversion rates by as much as 15%. So not only does it help you build more trust and credibility for your business, but it can also have a strong impact on purchasing decisions, because there really is a lot of psychology behind why social proof works. Humans are pack animals. We're relying on that sense of validation and belonging. And when it comes to purchases, our brains look for a mental shortcut to come to a conclusion, with the least amount of effort possible. So social proof highlights your expertise and how you've helped others, which can help you go a long way. If we jump
when you're using the social proof, just make sure you don't just use it on the pop-up. Carry it throughout your whole funnel and all your landing pages, because that way it just stays consistent. And we've seen that also boost conversions as well, versus just placing it on one place and not any other pages.
Great point. So let's take a look at an example here. We're going to look at Teddy Lane example here. So really what this strategy is doing with the social proof and the exit intent pop, it's really combining two really effective CRO strategies if you think about it. So we're adding that social proof and we're using those exit intent pop-ups, and putting those together can really help to drive CRO. So Teddy Lane is a fashion accessory brand. They're based in New Zealand. They added social proof to their website, and they increased their conversion rates by 10% in just about 6 months or so. HubSpot's another example using this tactic. Not all social proof needs to include a name or a direct quote from someone. So in this example, HubSpot, they used exit intent pop-up to gather email addresses, and really just by mentioning the number of other marketers who have joined their list, they were able to establish their newsletter as useful and encourage others to sign up for that, driving up their conversion rates overall. So let's talk about how we go about starting and implementing this tactic. So to implement this strategy, you're going to want to start by finding a provider. HubSpot offers this feature. They do standalone tools like fear of missing out. You're going to want to set a trigger when you want your pop-up to display. So this might be time on page. This might be the number of posts they read. This might be how far down the page they scroll. But you really want to show your pop-ups to users who really engage with you. So next, decide on what type of social proof. So do you want to share those Jane just bought this in Ohio, or type of posts or reviews from Google? You also want to consider whether to show targeted social proof. So for example, for the specific item or category they were looking at. So finally, you're always going to want to test, as conversion rate optimizers, we're always trying to test. So see if the placement, see if the images, see if the copy, see if the type of trigger help to improve your conversion rates, and always be testing these tactics. So I'll hand it back to Jonathan for tactic number 4.
Yeah. So the key to successfully using pop-ups comes down to timing. If you show a pop-up too early or too late, not only will you not earn conversions, but you might actually increase your bounce and exit rates. Think back to the last time you saw a pop-up that really captured your attention. Was there anything about it that appealed to you, or did it just appear at the right time with the right offer? When you time your pop-ups properly, you can take advantage of key moments in the on-site user journey. Pop-ups get a lot of hate, and I get it; they can be annoying, but I also know that they work. We've seen it on the Neil Patel site and with many of our clients. The average conversion rate for pop-ups is pretty low, just over 3%. Campaign Monitor found that the most successful pop-ups, those that converted around 10%, were all delayed for 4 or more seconds. That's a pretty huge increase in performance for just waiting a few seconds. That's because those 4 seconds allowed users to get a better feel for the website and see the value that it had to offer. The company Oberlo is looking to increase its email leads by promoting downloadable content like this ebook. In addition to offering something valuable, they also chose to delay the pop-up by 10 seconds, or when a user made a move to leave the page, whichever came first. This let readers get a feel for the website and decide if they found it valuable before getting an offer. By combining a timed trigger with an exit intent trigger, Oberlo collected more than 5,000 unique leads in just 6 days.
And one thing to speak about pop-up timing that I've learned, because I've tested so many pop-ups, timing is important. The one thing that I would not recommend do is people find that they tend to collect the most leads if they show the pop-up instantly when someone comes to your website. In the long run, we've seen it mess up user experience and it reduce traffic. So I wouldn't recommend just showing it right when someone comes to your website. Like if someone Googled, best toaster ovens, they went to your website and it had an article on best toaster ovens, but then they saw a pop-up right away. They don't necessarily see what they're looking for. People don't always realize it's a pop-up and they just click the back button, which can hurt your search engine rankings. So just delaying a little bit or putting on an exit usually does a trick. And also the lead quality tends to be better from what we've seen, because when you just put it on first show up, yes, you get more leads, but the conversion from a lead to a sale isn't as good.
That's a great point. Thank you, Neil. So to figure out the right time to show your pop-ups, you'll want to look at the average time on page through your web analytics platform of choice, and specifically look at high conversion or high traffic pages. If most people likely to convert stay on the site for around 10 seconds, set your timer to a little bit before that. In the previous section, we mentioned that you need to find an appropriate trigger for your pop-ups. In this case, it would be time-based, and you should start by considering the best average times to show a pop-up, which are usually around 4, 10, and 20 seconds. You've even tested longer, like around 60 seconds, which works well for B2B. Now, select 2 of those times you want to test and create your pop-up. If you don't have one already, you could even tie in some social proof like we showed you in the last tactic to make your pop-ups more engaging. When you're comparing the test results, look at both conversion rates and the quality of those leads, like Neil mentioned. So making changes, for example, collecting 100 emails of users who don't open any of your emails isn't as good as collecting 25 emails from users who open 40% of the messages that you sent them.
That brings us to tactic number 5, which is using Google ad extensions to pre-qualify your traffic and maximize your budget. So Google ad extensions allow you to add more detail to your ads, such as prices, location, phone number, etc. They can help you target an audience to get a better idea of what they'll see on your target ad before clicking. So this can drastically help reduce your click fraud and your cost per click. So conversions don't live in a vacuum, though. The quality and amount you pay to get those conversions, it matters a lot, right? So what's the point of getting a lot of clicks if they don't go anywhere? The whole point in running ads is to get more conversions. So if you're not, then something needs to change, really. So if we jump to the next slide, according to Google, extensions can increase click-through rate by 10 to 15%. They can save you money and they can improve quality as well. So Google Ads extensions ensure users have as much information about your page as possible, so they don't immediately click out when they get more information, which wastes your ad budget and really can lower your quality score too. So This really helps qualify your leads before they ever land on your site, and you really get higher quality leads. You spend less on ads, and that's just a win-win in my book. Let's look a little bit about how an example here and how we go about this. So this example is Accor Hotels, and they're looking for a way to improve their digital marketing strategy and stay competitive in the hospitality industry. So their goal was to boost brand awareness, and they wanted to improve click-through rates, which is why they turned to Google Ad extensions. So they used site links to increase incremental conversions by 14%, review extensions to grow click-through rate by 19%, they used local extensions to increase click-through rate by 9%, call extensions to improve click-through rate by 4%, and so on. Let's see the tactics here, and let's see the steps to implementing this with some of your businesses. So there's tons of ad extensions, really. So the first step is what you're going to want to do is get clear on the goal of your ad campaigns. Do you want in-person visits? Do you want additional phone calls? Do you want to highlight your free delivery or 24-hour service? You can also highlight pricing or include a lead form as well. So take a look at where your top customers like the best about you and consider highlighting that feature. So then you're going to want to choose an extension that best highlights what you want to offer. And test more than one extension. If you aren't sure, then really, test those and compare those conversion rates, compare those click-through rates, and compare the lead qualities you're getting as you go through and test these. So I'm going to hand it back to Jonathan for tactic number 6.
Thanks, Ryan. Personalization has become a huge priority in recent years, and the reason for that is pretty simple. People like when you speak directly to them. Personalization isn't just about product recommendations. There's a whole array of custom site experiences that you can present to users when you begin tracking and analyzing data in an intentional way. A lot of brands worry that personalization can be creepy, but most users don't even think about personalization as long as you're making it easier to use your website. The only time users tend to get creeped out is when brands use information the user didn't share knowingly. For example, sending a product recommendation based on something they purchased from another business. Studies have shown that people prefer personalized content. In fact, 83% of users are willing to share data in exchange for a more personalized site experience. Along with that, 91% of consumers are more likely to shop with brands who recognize and remember them while providing relevant offers and recommendations. And this doesn't just mean adding their name to an email, but giving relevant content they can engage with, such as tying in their location for special offers, using their native currency on e-commerce pages, or using their browsing patterns on the website to display content that they're more likely to engage with.
Yeah, and one thing with personalization that a lot of businesses get wrong is you don't have to have a lot of data or any data on people to even start personalizing. So for example, if you go to neilpatel.com/blog, you'll see a box at the top that says, do you want me to do your marketing for you? Yes or no? Most people click no. When it says no, it's like, all right, cool. Because if you click no, that means you want to do it yourself. And it'll ask you, what marketing tactics would you like to learn about? And then there's a drop down. People can say, I want to learn about SEO or CRO or digital marketing or social media marketing. And then the content adjusts to based on what they want, what their preferences are. That's a simple example of personalization without really having any data on a person, right? They're telling us and selecting their own journey and personalizing by just clicking a few buttons. And funny enough, believe it or not, that's the most highly clicked area on the neilpatel.com/blog page.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. There's a lot of, if you are running a small business, you may not have a ton of user data to be working with. So you may need to rely on contextual information or looking at how a user is interacting with your website. Let's go back and look at an example here of a website using personalization. So the company Clearbit was looking for a way to increase demo signups and increase the quality of their leads. So they hosted a Hack Week project and decided to completely revamp their demo page. They used Clearbit Reveal, which is a software that identifies which companies visit a website based on IP address, and then they overlaid a screenshot of the company's website onto their demo page. So shown here are some demo pages that were personalized to include the Dropbox and Segment websites, both of which were brands that checked out the Clearbit site. Your personalization doesn't need to be this in-depth to be effective. For example, you might show new customers a landing page with different info than returning customers, display recommended products based on the categories the users visited, or segment pop-ups based on the type of content the users interacted with on the website. There are dozens of ways to use personalization, which can make it a little bit overwhelming. So just start small and maybe try personalizing product recommendations or using geo-targeting to customize region-specific images or content on your homepage. Set a goal for what you want to personalize. Where are your customers from? Do you have two separate buyer personas? Do you target both B2B and B2C customers? Then gather data. For personalization, you'll need first-party data, and that can be gathered from social media, customer surveys, or website activity. Then launch and test your personalization efforts. And I'll pass it back to Ryan to talk about creating a sense of urgency.
Thanks, Jonathan. Tactic number 7, create a sense of urgency or FOMO, fear of missing out. So successful marketing relies on really changing the way your audience behaves, right? So one way to do this is by creating a sense of urgency. And in today's world, there's always something vying for a user's attention. And we all like to feel special, and we like to get offers tailored just for us. So when you add a sense of urgency to those offers, you can make them feel even more exclusive, really. And there's a reason why those late night commercials say things like, and for the next 10 minutes, you'll get another item totally free. Because creating a sense of urgency, it works. It tells people, get this now before it's gone, before we run out. If we jump to the next slide, a study found when unimportant tasks leverage a sense of expiration or urgency or create that fear of missing out, people are more likely to complete those tasks, even over more important tasks that they might have. So special offers like discounts, free delivery, buy one get one free deals, they're a great way to grab attention and really convince users to make that purchase.
And so, to give you guys a little data point, when we used to sell informational based projects or digital products on the neilpatel.com website, and I have lots of data points on this, but I can share my own without having any quote unquote privacy issues. We used to actually generate around half our sales from an ending email. What I mean by that is, so we would have emails for you to join a webinar. We would sell you on something. Some people would sign up there. But at the very end of the email campaign, we would close it off and genuinely close it off where you wouldn't be able to buy after that time. And it would have a countdown timer in there. And that caused roughly half our sales. It was super effective.
Great. Thanks, Neil. Thanks for adding that. So let's take a look at an example here. In 2019, Marcus Taylor launched what he called a Groupon deal for musicians. And the goal was to sell packages to musicians, which included products, recording time, and even an endorsement deal for just $69. So at first, conversion rates were low. They were just, I think, 2.5% or so. Not terrible, but he was getting great traffic to the deal. He added that countdown, as you can see on the screen here on the slide. And just with that adjustment and reducing some distractions on the page, Marcus's conversion rates shot up to almost 11%. And really why? It's because people knew they had that limited time to get this deal, so they acted on it and drove up those conversion rates. So let's take a look at the steps that we need to get this implemented. So really, you're going to want to take a look at the campaigns you already have, like banners, discounts, even regular items that sell really well. See where they're creating a sense of urgency might help those. For e-commerce, that might mean adding an inventory countdown, like there's only 2 more left in stock. For discounts, sales, or deals on shipping, add an active countdown that we'd only hold this for a certain amount of time. And it really shows people that, time is slipping away. If you want to get this deal, you better act now. So for popular items that often go out of stock, consider sending them an email when it's back in stock. But remind users that this product is going to go away quickly. So if you want this, you better act quickly. We're going to hand this back. We have 7 tactics we talked about, but we have a bonus section here we wanted to talk about. And I think I'm going to hand this back to Neil to discuss these.
Yeah, so I want to give you guys today 3 impressive CRO ideas to test. These should work for both B2B and B2C. I'll optimize them so that way you guys can get an understanding of how you can use them no matter what type of business you have. So CRO improvements could be anything, as I was just mentioned, even sending an email saying, hey, this item's back in stock. If you have a popular item that sells out, you don't have to discount it. Just sending an email telling people it's back in stock will get you more sales. That's an example of CRO that people don't always think of as quote unquote CRO. So idea number one, Convertica, they use multiple choice questions. So everyone has form fields, but in your form fields, have you thought about using multiple choice questions? By updating form fields to show multiple choice questions, Convertica was able to increase conversions by 51.6% in only 47 days. That's kind of crazy to think about it. Their old form field was on the right, which was difficult to fill out on mobile devices since it asked a lot of questions. And as you can end up seeing, right, if you just think about that, it's just like that's just a lot of stuff to fill out versus having something that is multiple choice or quote unquote drop down or sliders. And they also started implementing gamification. A great example on this, if you want to see something that's live, is go to neilpatel.com/quiz, QUIZ, and you'll see how we use gamification with form fields and multiple choice to boost conversion. And funny enough, that drives more leads to our company than any other form field collection. Now, you can do this for e-commerce. You can do this B2B. The neilpatel.com example/quiz is for B2B. I think it was was it Groove? I forgot what it was called, or Crew. They ended up doing one on a quiz on how much does it cost to make a mobile app, and then you selected everything. I want my app to be on Android or Apple or both. And then they're like, oh, here's how much it costs. Would you like help with this? Fill out your information. We'll get in touch with you. There was a fitness guy named Mike Chang. I think it was called Six Pack Shortcuts. He had a quiz with this form field of multiple choices on for selling protein powder. What's your fitness goal? Lose weight, build muscle, right? You put lose weight. How much weight are you looking to lose? 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds. So based on what you pick, he would then show you a product, and that boosts conversions as well. So you should definitely test that out as well.
Really quickly, we actually ran a quiz experiment for one of our clients in a fitness vertical, and they actually increased their leads by over 1,000%.
That's awesome. And it just shows it's super effective, and it can work for both B2B and B2C. Idea number two, Cook Smarts. They require credit card details. So a lot of people, when they do like free trials, whether it's free trials for a meal delivery or it's a free trial for software as a service, a lot of people use free trials. But when they tested asking for a credit card up front, they saw 86% lift in conversions by just requiring credit card up front. Doesn't mean you charge a credit card, but what you can do when you have a credit card information up front, a lot of processors like the Recurly's out there, or maybe even Stripe does this. What they'll do is they'll actually do like a test run. So they don't actually charge the card, but they see, hey, would $1 go through or $15 or whatever your product would be charged. They don't charge it, but they actually just see if the processor or the credit card company would accept that amount. And that way, you know, hey, this card is good. Let me accept it. If not, you can have them put in a different card. So that way, you know that, hey, when they're doing a trial, if they want to go through, there's a much higher chance that they actually will get charged. And here's another idea. This is from Hotter Shoes Makes Constant Tests. And if you think about this, with CRO, it's all about continually adapting, testing, and never giving up, right? So Hotter Shoes ran constant tests and made continued adjustments to increase revenue by 18.5%. And they got more than 24.7% more transactions, improved their ROI by 20 to 1, which is massive. And the key with CRO is everyone believes that CRO is like you run a few tests and that's it. You got to continually run tests. On UberCS, we run a CRO test almost once a week. Some tests work out really well. Some don't. It's hit or miss. We use data to inform what tests you make, but it doesn't always guarantee wins. But the tests are adding up and it starts compounding. That's how you win in the long run. You don't need to implement one big change. You can do a lot of little changes, and that's what really adds up and generates the revenue. So we covered the 7 tactics. I'm not going to go over them individually. You can take a screenshot here. I recommend just implementing one of these things and it'll help you see results. and that'll be a win for me. And I'll be happy if you at least implement one thing. And now what I wanted to do is get into some Q&A, and you can ask us any questions. And funny enough, if you need help with consulting or just want our team to do the CRO for you, you can scan the QR code right here. I'll take you to page, fill out your information. Funny enough, you can use QR codes. We've tested this and we found that it actually like almost doubled our leads from our webinar. So if you use webinars, try to add QR codes. And you can always email us at Neil Patel or consulting@neilpatel.com, or just go to npdigital.com. So let's get into some Q&A.
Hi, everyone. Ryan, Jonathan, Neil. Here I am. I have some questions from everybody. They've been sending lots of questions in the chat. I will say, Ryan, a lot of those questions are directed to you. So I'll get started with Colleen Moore. She's asking, does the use of live chat have the same impact for B2B, or are these stats that you showed just B2B specific?
I think that you'll find that there'll be different conversion rates between B2B and e-commerce and things like that. It's important to really just, again, just kind of focus on what the goals are for your business. Obviously, with B2B, there's going to be, a longer funnel, longer cycle time. But I think, giving any visitor the information that they're looking for at the time they're looking for it is always, always a positive thing. So, obviously there's that longer cycle, as I mentioned, but I've never seen really, any issues with giving, visitors the information that they're looking for right at the time that they're looking for it. So you could do that with live chat, and I've seen great success with it.
Yeah, and same here. I've seen good success with live chat on both B2B and B2C. The conversion rates vary, but it just helps boost conversions in almost most cases, assuming you have someone who responds on time and is very quick.
There you go. So another question about the same topic, which is by Thomas Olson. So with tactic number 1, how do you track whether or not live chat is improving conversions?
Well, with live chat, you're going to need you're always, as a CRO, you're going to want to track everything. So you're going to have metrics on your live chat. You're going to look at, how the visitors are engaging with live chat. We'll have tracking on those visitors, how they move through that funnel after using the live chat. Are they moving through? Are they converting? So it's important to have the analytics in place when you put the live chat, on your pages, just to make sure, is this working? Is this working for us? And you're going to want to, test that. You're going to want to test different aspects of it, different information that you're providing. And again, you're always going to want this to be, timely, because it's a live chat. You're going to want to be able to respond with the information that they need and are requesting as quick as you possibly can to get those efficiencies.
Whenever you're adding something to your site like that as well, definitely make sure that you're tagging it so you can segment out those users who interact with that feature in Google Analytics. That'd be one way to see if those users are converting better than users who aren't interacting with that feature.
Okay. So I think you were talking a lot about social proof testimonials as well, Ryan. So here's another one by Sawdust City. What are examples of social proof other than testimonials?
I like to do, well, you could do an actual count. You could do something along the lines of, over 250 people, even something saying like we're over 55 years in business, something along those lines. I love trust symbols. I kind of lump trust symbols into that social proof as well. So if you could use, trust symbols, particularly by maybe CTAs, maybe on the purchasing page, so you instill that sense of confidence and trust as they're going to make that purchase. So maybe a Better Business Bureau or some type of McAfee trust symbols, using them as post CTAs underneath the main CTA. I've seen great success with those. I've also seen great success with things like media mentions. So using a bar on the edge of your hero area with some media mentions. So maybe someone lands on your page, they might not understand your brand right away or what your products but you can add some media mentions to your page that gives you that instant sense of kind of credibility, like as seen on the Wall Street Journal, as seen in, etc. So it not only gives you that sense of credibility, but when you put it on the edge of a hero area, it's, just so it teases it, it gets you to kind of gaze down, get that credibility, and start to move about a little bit more through the page into those second and third blocks on the page, which many of your visitors may not even get to. They may just, bounce. So it does a couple of things. It will give you that sense of, trust, but also it gets you moving about through the page, trying to understand some of those, secondary, third blocks of content, which usually provide some great benefits, some great information about your business.
Great tips. Now one for you, Jonathan, by Ellen Neal. What systems do you recommend for these pop-ups? And then she's mentioning we are a social business with 51% plus profit to charity, so money is tight.
Well, if you're a nonprofit, the first thing that you should end up doing is check out Google Grants. You can get a ton of free traffic, like tens of thousands of dollars per month for free. I think they go up to like 40 grand a month. That's the easiest thing I would do if you're running a nonprofit. You just get tons of traffic for free, and then you can optimize for conversions, but you don't even have to buy the traffic. Technically, you're buying it, but they're giving you the money for free to buy the traffic, which is a cool program.
Also putting in a plug for Hello Bar, which is one of our tools. Unbounce is good as well.
Nice, thank you. All right, so one by Jessica Torres. Where do you look for testing ideas? Yes, any of you could answer that.
The first place you should start is the users who are on your website. So collecting data from them, exit intent surveys, even setting up user interviews, looking at web analytics data, session recordings, just figuring out what's going on. A lot of times we'll look at websites in similar verticals or related verticals that maybe have a little bit of a better UI, UX that we want to test out some of the things that they're doing. And then we'll try and cross-reference those things together. So maybe we saw from talking to our users that they had an issue at this point in the funnel, and then we see on our competitor website that they're doing something really great there. So then we'll pull that idea and try it.
Okay. Well, Chris Lloyd is asking, what's the recommended baseline budget for CRO services? You need a lot of money to do CRO.
I don't think you necessarily need a lot of money. There's a lot of CRO companies that offer different pricing. We're not the cheapest, but we have quite a bit of proven results. So we tend to provide results faster than a lot of others because we've just run so many tests. Time is money as well, so keep that in mind. But I've seen people, like, sometimes you can find individuals who will just do the service for like $500 a month, a few $100s a month, and just getting started. May not produce the best results, but it's a start. And a lot of times you can just start it yourself with some software out there like Crazy Egg that has a WYSIWYG editor. So you don't even have to be a developer to get things implemented. So if money's tight, just use one of the tools out there, whether it's like Crazy Egg or VWO or Hotjar. Optimizing may be a little bit more expensive, but a lot of them have WYSIWYG editors. So you don't need a developer to help you out, and you can just run some tests.
Well, a question by Anna Tost. Would you recommend to use automated messages or bot chat? Do you think that's a good idea?
I've tested that out. It's not bad. I don't think anything really beats having a human interaction there. I think a lot of the bots and the automation isn't as perfect versus having a human truly understand the product or the service that you're selling or the software, whatever it may be, and really helping that individual out and being super custom, because that's really hard to program through automation at the moment, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, last question. How will CRO affect my SEO and PPC strategies?
It shouldn't affect it negatively. Everyone is doing SEO and pay-per-click and CRO. And, the search engines know about this. Heck, they even have software. I don't know if you guys knew, but Google Optimize is a tool by Google that helps you run A/B testing, right? They're not going to go and create software that's going to screw up your traffic. because they know people do paid ads and they don't want to mess up your paid ads. They want it to help it, so you spend more money on paid ads. And of course, if their own tools tanked your SEO rankings, people would get upset. So they make sure that it doesn't.
Yeah, I like to talk about CRO as like the conversion tide that lifts all boats. It helps all channels. It really works with all of your channels really well to help you get those maximum dollars that you possibly can and drive those conversion rates to the best efficient numbers that you possibly can.
Thank you.
Awesome, everyone. Thank you for your time. Make sure you check out NP Digital if you need help with your marketing or your CRO and you just want our team to do it for you.
Yep. Thank you, Jonathan, Brian, Neil. Guys, see you next time.
Thanks, guys.